Countyfairgrounds and Cool K here. Do I have the one, the only John Parker?
Ma'am, how are you?
Okay, I've interviewed you before, and you run an action sports team, and your podcast is still on our service, so we're going to add this new podcast to it. So you have some updates you want to talk about, right?
Yes, everything changes so quick here. When I say we're action sports based, we are non-stop action sports because everything we do is pretty action-packed. We've got shows going on all over the country. We do a nationwide tour called the Healthy Habits Tour, where we visit schools with an awesome message motivating them to be extra, extra good and awesome at whatever they want. So we keep that going year-round, and in between, on top of that, we do special events with some of the best action sports professionals in the world, and we really focus on bringing a good message wherever we go, making it fun, making it lighthearted, but impactful.
Hey, John, are you still performing?
Yeah, I break out the bike occasionally. I've been riding for about 35 years, and
wow.
I toured around the world for about 22 years or so, and now I ride my bike, I have fun, but I don't push it. I don't go out there to, break any limits or anything. I'm just having a good time showing off occasionally because it makes you feel good to get out and be active.
Okay, so say in the last year, where did you perform at? Can you give me some places?
Well, all over the U.S. We got a tour going on all over Massachusetts right now, basically up and down the East Coast, all over California, Arizona. We're headquartered out of Arizona. That's where I sleep most of the time. But we perform all over Texas, California, Nevada. We got shows just this month. We had shows in California, Texas, Massachusetts, New Jersey, North Carolina, South Carolina, Missouri, and Illinois, a couple spots, just in the last month. Because we've got our team set up to where I got some awesome guys that not only handle their bikes well, but also handle the microphone well. So, and they can drive. So we keep everybody pretty busy putting on some awesome shows. A 2-man gig, all the way to 6 or 7 guys on our full-size half pipe. So keep it fun.
Okay, so you're driving to most of these shows. That's what I was going to ask you.
Yes and no. I have equipment all over the country. So I was in Texas and I just flew down there, grabbed my ramp, and did a couple shows because we have a ramp headquartered it's back and forth from Dallas to Houston. So when we go there, I don't need to drive. But our big ramp, our big equipment is headquartered in Phoenix, and we tow that with a big old truck.
Okay. So is there any place, that you haven't had a chance yet that you really would like to perform? I'm kind of curious since you've done so much.
I was going to say, I've been doing this for in 1993, I got my first sponsor, and they basically said they do what I do with my guys now. They keep them busy. So I started traveling around the world, went out to China for a month, went all over Europe more than a dozen times, and everywhere in the U.S. except for, I'm going to drop a couple names, have not done shows in Hawaii or Alaska. So I'm open for that. Obviously, it entailed a little bit of difficulties, but we're nothing new to us.
Okay. So, what have you got coming up? I'm curious.
Well, we just got mostly a bunch of community events because we do a show called Stuntmasters in the Hood. So we bring, for HOAs and communities, we bring out our kind of like cities and park and rec. We bring out our ramps, we bring out our virtual reality machine, and we bring out a cool little bicycle rodeo course that inflates, kind of like a blow-up house, but you ride through it. So we bring all those out, and we just put on a whole day, 3 to 4 hours of action. We got shows going on throughout the day. We're going to be up in Henderson, Nevada in a couple weeks. We're going to be up in Houston, Texas, Cypress, Texas in about 3 weeks. And then we've got one in Layton, Utah on the books. Those are with our special event stuff. So our bigger ramps, more action. Okay. And then in between, we're doing school shows, motivational assemblies everywhere. We call it the BMX assembly.
And what is that like?
Well, it's kind of the same idea. You get a really cool action-packed show with a little bit more talking, because we make everything we do kind of relevant to the students, you know? Like we talk about safety, obviously, wearing our gear, using our head, making smart choices. We have to talk about trust, respect, responsibility, fairness, teamwork, caring, and communication, because all those kind of helped us get where we are today. Obviously, you got to know how to make smart decisions. Use your head to protect your head.
That's very funny, John.
Exactly. So, you know, the whole idea is to, and, you know, bike riding has delivered a strong message to me for the last 30 years, and I get to share it with other people. So the whole idea is, you know, we're not just crazy guys on our bikes. I always say that it's way more than crazy stunts and dumb luck. We didn't just get here by chance. We had goals, we set goals, and we achieved them through years of practice and making the right decision. Not always the easy decision, but the right decision.
Well, you know, would you recommend it for kids to do, to get into this?
Oh, definitely. I mean, even if you're just having fun on your bike, riding around, riding through the dirt, putting your helmet on, of course. I mean, some of us want to take it a little further. I think everybody gets a bike when they're a kid and rides with no feet or no hands. And they're like, oh, that's kind of scary and it's kind of fun. You know, so I like the idea of we push ourselves to where we're a little bit in new territory, but we're not totally out of control. New territory is what I call it.
One of the things that would concern me is, you know, obviously you seem to have your accident stuff under control. Have you had any really bad ones in the last year or so?
No, in the last year I've been pretty good. I did scratch up my face pretty good because I was, you know, we work on so many different ramps. We have like 10 or 12 different pieces of equipment. So one time I was riding this ramp, and we have a quarter pipe ramp that we use to get speed on, and then a jump ramp, which we jump over and jump long ways. So I was using we brought out a mismatched set to where we had the small jump and the big quarter pipe. So I went up the quarter pipe and got tons of speed, and then I hit this little ramp, and I almost missed it completely. I jumped over the whole thing to dirt. Ended up sliding on my face for a couple feet, and it wasn't pretty, but I pulled it off. I just smiled and waved, and it was actually before the show, so there's only a few people that saw it, but definitely wasn't my shining moment.
So how long do one of your shows usually last?
Well, our special event shows are usually 15 to 20 minutes because we do 3 or 4 of them out throughout the day if we're at a fair or a festival. Okay. Our shows that have a lot of speaking and interaction where we get the crowd involved, they're anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It's more like you might go see like a motivational speaker somewhere, and he'll go on and on and on, up and down, highs and lows, telling stories that are relevant. That's kind of what we do with our motivational show.
Hey, you've been at this for 30 years. Are you going to stop anytime soon?
Definitely. Nah, not necessarily anytime soon, but definitely, you know, like right now, for example, we've got teams doing shows all over the country, and somebody has to make sure they have everything they need, and the people that hire us have everything they need. So I'm kind of that guy. But, you know, luckily for me, I can sit at my computer for half the day and then go ride my bike for an hour, and I'll feel good, or go to the gym. So I'm in a good position now. I got a really awesome crew that I work with from, you know, Florida to Maine to we do shows in Washington all the way down to Southern California nonstop. So these guys help me make it all happen.
Are you doing your own booking?
Mostly. Pretty easy to find. If you search Stuntmasters, we pop up. So mostly I do my own bookings. We keep it pretty simple, you know. When do you want the show? Where do you want the show? What's your goal? You know, if you just want to have a good time, you want people to get crazy, you want people to get involved, you want people to listen. Are we teaching them something, or are we just showing them something? And we keep it pretty simple as far as bookings go. Obviously, since we do tour nationwide, it's kind of ideal that we might be in one big city for a week or 2 at a time. That's why I love doing fairs, because you get up, you go ride your bike every day or your skateboard or whatever, and you're just showing off for a new crowd all week long.
All right. Well, how do people reach you?
You can reach me at stuntmasters.net. That's the easiest way. If you just search Stuntmasters, we pop up. Instagram, Facebook, any of those.
Yeah, you don't pop up as Stuntmaster. I found that out.
Put an S on it, and then boom, there we go.
Okay, so what is I'm curious. What is the youngest person that works for you on these bikes?
Well, for the most part, the people that work with us are at least 18. Because we keep them on the road. They might be doing shows during school hours, but every once in a while we'll have an event, and it'll be near one of the younger guys. And we might get a kid. I call him a kid, but he's a young man out there riding who's like 16 or so. And the thing that's crazy nowadays is you've got younger and younger talent popping up everywhere. I mean, as soon as they can manhandle a bike or woman handle a bike, we got ladies riding. There's a couple ladies that perform for me. As soon as they can handle the bike, they're at it. So, 16's kind of like the youngest we've had involved in our shows. But there's guys younger than that are pushing the limits too.
How do their parents feel?
Well, I know my parents back in the day were like, at first, very hesitant to let me go wild. And then after they saw the sport and they learned about it, they became somewhat critical, like, oh, that wasn't very high. I remember my mom saying, do not ever do a backflip. And then I went on tour with GT Bicycles one year for like 3 months in the summer. And I came home and I had learned backflips, and she saw me do a backflip and she goes, well, that wasn't very high. I'm like 6 months ago, you told me to never try that. So, I think you just sort of build a trust with people, and they learn that you are capable of it, even though it seems a little bit wild.
So how many shows do you think you're probably going to book this year, approximately? I'm curious.
Well, I would say probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 to 350 days of shows.
Wow.
We'll double up often because we've got teams on the east and the west and a team in St. Louis. So we often double up. When it comes to special events, you can cut that number down a lot. When it comes to special events, we bring out the half pipe, our biggest ramp. That thing probably gets booked maybe 20, 25 days a year. We don't bring it out too much because it's huge, expensive, and tears up transmissions. So,
have you got any county fairs coming up?
No county fairs. We trying to think if we have any fairs whatsoever. I haven't really been working the fairs too hard. I'd love to, but it seems like you got to know a body to get in there. But
that's who I am. Okay.
Exactly. That's just it. Like, it's a whole, like, for example, my school show program is a full-time job. I mean, somebody needs to sit here and schedule tickets, schedule shows, handle management of these 3 teams running around the country. So it's like a full-time job. When we get fair stuff, it's awesome because we kind of use some of the same guys and then some new guys because we try to bring in we bring in our biggest ramp, we bring in some of the best talent in the country. We bring in some current and past X Games athletes, guys that just skate or just ride. So it's a different monster, but same idea.
Okay, well, we'll get this up, and hopefully we'll get you some bookings. Nice talking to you again, John.
Definitely. Thank you.
Bye.
Talk to you later, cool kid. Bye.
Bye.